Please, I'm not trying to monetize hate. I'm just trying to understand why in the hell am I still getting Bullet Club just fluctuating on my TV screen. Now they have Jay White that was estimated to leave New Japan Pro Wrestling around his contract renewal, and go to All Elite Wrestling to probably be a more mainstream star, knowing the total viewership that All Elite Wrestling gets over New Japan, the more pull that he get over a general audience. And now here he is, just taking the piss, feuding around, acting like a bunch of nerds with the Ass Boys, or now they're just the Guns, and Juice Robinson that's just dull as hell. I think his only positive is that he went out with Tony Storm before the OnlyFans. So that's the only upside. Other than that, I understand we're in a different standard of how we key into a main event scene. Still somewhat likable, less over the top. While like the Bloodline storyline is pretty much still crashing over whatever viewership you guys are getting, while losing like nearly like thirds of your audience over just changing your screening from Wednesday to Tuesday just for an anniversary special, while debuting a potential main eventer with Adam Copeland. And now you got the Guns, the Bullet Club, just possibly off a temporary just scene because you just need a click faction for your main event. Is MJF still the top heel main eventer? Because White's stealing the belt from him with the heel faction that is the Bullet Club, that are guys that look like you can get along with in an anime con. None of these guys look cool. Whatever is going to be the draw is obviously not the world title. I don't think any of the world title feuds that I've seen. Don't get me wrong. I watched the MJF and Adam Cole finish. It was okay, but it's sentimental storytelling that doesn't draw you in, even with the two guys not being his name recognized as like Jericho or Kenny Omega, Moxley, Danielson. And don't get me wrong, MJF can accumulate more drawing power with guys that are a bit more established. You're selling over your possibly last pay-per-view, because I don't know what they're going to sell over around December. Probably just a couple of special events around the middle of the year. Probably another Clash of the Champions, whatever they call it. Whatever super show they do is possibly just going to be the major pull for AEW. And I don't want to be pessimistic. Obviously, I want these guys to succeed. Financially, of course. I could care less what happens over in the show. But this is over your televised renewal, and already that bad banter that and the heat that Tony Khan is getting, struggling to sell over on pay-per-view, struggling to sell over on TV, and already not getting the accumulated buys that are going on over on the publicity sales going on in Fight Forever. You kind of need to stick more interest over your main project. And especially just changing it over one night because of some specific reason could change the factor on it, and especially not advertising what goes on Rampage and Collision. That gets a fair amount of nobody's actually watching whenever it comes to you just regularly actually checking out what's going on Dynamite specifically. And I hate to say that because I want like some of these people to actually be paid. Some of the established names or younger guys to actually build over established names. But AEW is still having the same faults that are getting them in the situation of why they get highly criticized. And I don't know how many more excuses that you guys need over the poll going in the ratings, dumping over what's going on in the sports event, because the basketball season doesn't start until like the 25th. Hockey just kicked off around the 10th, We're in full swing of the NL and ALDS right now, and we're nearly a we're already over a quarter season portion of the NFL regular season. So majority is just trying to keep the core audience intact, and getting heat with that is already not a good portion to have. And just selling over these jobbers, no offense, I understand nobody likes that sentiment of being called a hired loser every week, and usually around the plane of how most people in wrestling terminalize it is like a nobody. So I guess that's how I terminalize it whenever I use it if anybody tries to ask again. But it's just agonizing, like, to see what happens over in the wrestling scope of thing, that this is what they think gets interest over to the company to keep even your hardcore audience interested to even know that there's going to be a pay-per-view out. And we still don't know what's going to be the core reason to watch your product. And nobody's going to say, oh, what MJF is going to feud with the Bullet Club. No one's going to watch it because of that. Come on. So that's just my opinion on it. They need to do more with the world title scene. It's either drop the belt away from MJF and give it to a more established name when you're selling over to your pay-per-view. Make world title changes around your televised show more at least unpredictable on the standpoint of things. And get some guys, and I hate to say this, I really don't want to say this, try to get some ideas off WWE. Do something what the competition is doing and try to upgrade it, or at least enhance it to make it your own. Multiple companies do that. Don't deny it to try to make yourselves look different. You guys already took blood and guts and made it war games. You guys still have unpurposable battle royales to make meaningless things that nobody's going to win and get over unless it's predictably for the heel or babyface to get over. And long matches that go absolutely nowhere. They just take a portion of the show and you guys can't write anything. But if you guys have those faults, AW at least try to make something feel like I don't have to always wait in anticipation. Just make it feel like that came out of nowhere. Before the dirt sheets became a thing. I mean, technically, for the audience that already knows, most of the wrestling fan base, if that's a bit more simpler. Besides that, that's it for me. All I know this Bullet Club Gold MJF thing isn't a draw. MJF already lost, I feel like, a bit of his. He lost a lot of his momentum. And I think Suplex was right about MJF not being as original, as consistent, or has changed. MJF hasn't really changed. He's developed already fanfare, but he's already had fanfare since even being the top heel over in the company since debuting. People want him over in the main event scene. People wanted him interacting with Punk, Punk, even before even debuting. Against Chris Jericho, feuding with Cody Rhodes, getting more headlines, screening more promo time, even due over his injury. And I was hyped for him because I wanted a top guy that not a lot of people over the general audience already hasn't heard of. And MJF just seems like just a screening midget that's compensating for something. And I wish they would appall that more than him being just a likable dickhead. And likable dickhead does not get heat. The only reason is to get heat, or for the heel's case, is just to get the babyface over. And MJF starts getting over the standpoint. So, I don't know, repackage him. Go over what could work. And I hate to suggest this, get a writing team out there. I understand sometimes it's inorganic, but we kind of leave the organic promos for the guys that can actually talk, in my opinion. And that goes for a 70% of the AEW roster that can't, without sounding a bit like Kevin Owens. So, that's it for me. Hopefully you guys agree or disagree. And, you guys can't make a faction to save your life.